Hey, good Tuesday morning, everyone. This is Joe. Welcome to my scripture reflection for Tuesday, July the 11th. I'm here with you a little bit earlier today because there's some unexpected work that needs to be done here at our house, and that's going to start a little bit sooner than I thought. So I needed to come and be with you a little bit earlier than usual. I hope that's not an imposition. But this work that's having to be done, it just shows us that you just never know what's next around the corner, right? You always have to be prepared and look at all angles of life. It's just a reality. It's just something we all have to deal with. So, with that in mind, I'm going to ask you to quiet your minds and hearts as we prepare to hear today's gospel, which is from St. Matthew, chapter 9, verses 32 to 38. A demoniac who could not speak was brought to Jesus, and when the demon was driven out of the mute man, the crowds were amazed and said, "Nothing like this has ever been in Israel." But the Pharisees said, "He drives out demons by the prince of demons." Jesus went around to all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the gospel of the kingdom, and curing every disease and illness. At the sight of the crowds, his heart was moved with pity for them, because they were troubled and abandoned, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is abundant, but the laborers are few. So ask the master of the harvest to send out laborers for his harvest." The harvest is abundant, but the laborers are few. Makes me think of the last 2 years that my father was alive, where he could not get out to the garden to pick his tomatoes and vegetables. And I had to go do it each and every day and make sure that there was every bit of the harvest was taken, because he knew for sure how much there would be. So I would go out there, and I wasn't really used to this because I never did it with such regularity anyway. But I learned a few things. You'd go into the garden, you'd have to be very careful not to step on any vines, and you'd position yourself in the garden, and then you'd have to reach over, like playing some kind of a game of Twister, to reach over and grab a tomato that was ripe on a vine. So you'd have to, stretch yourself a little bit, and you'd also have to be a little bit more uncomfortable than you thought you'd be in doing such a task. In addition to that, sometimes you'd have to really check the tomato out to make sure that it may have looked not ripe completely on the outside, but underneath it was completely ripe. So it was ready to be picked, even though it didn't look like it was right there on the surface where you were looking. So when we're approaching a harvest, we have to be very flexible. We have to be willing to be a little bit uncomfortable. And we have to have an open mind and look at the complete picture. Isn't this true of the harvest that Jesus was talking about? The harvest of taking our faith into the world, taking our talents with that faith and putting them into action. There are going to be some moments where we're going to have to stretch ourselves. There's going to be some moments where we're going to have to be uncomfortable. And there's going to be some moments where we're going to have to take our time and patience and look at the big picture. My friends, this gospel comes alive for every single one of us today. And I am willing to submit and put my hand up again and tell you that I have fallen into this trap as well, that this is why sometimes that the harvest is abundant, but the laborers are few. It's not easy to stretch ourselves. It's not easy to be uncomfortable and play Twister like that. And it's certainly not easy sometimes to have the patience we need. But the payoff? The payoff is a more compassionate world for all. And that payoff comes right back to ourselves with a feeling of satisfaction, a feeling of being part of something huge, which is God's plan for this world that we can play a part in. And yes, be a laborer that goes into the harvest, does what needs to be done, and sees the satisfaction within it. Well, my friends, that's my message for you on this Tuesday morning. I hope it was helpful. I hope you can take it into your day and through your week. As always, I welcome your comments and your thoughts and your questions. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate us growing our laborers in this effort, which is my absolute dream and goal, to make this a more compassionate world. Have a wonderful Tuesday, everyone, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care.